You came in like a thief, and you stole the crown. Your lies keep piling up, and we watch them weigh you down. The fear and greed that you stole, they run the whole fucking show. But we are not afraid, and we will not let go. The bigots rise, and you fan the flames. You build an empire of fear and pain. You're hand in hand with the billionaire scum, selling out this country while you play dumb. Burn it all down, tear the walls apart. We will not bow, we will not lose heart. We will put an end to the hate, we will put an end to your lies. We will stand side by side, and we will You think these cages are built for the poor and for the weak, for the families torn apart while you laugh and tweet? Look at the puppets dance to the corporate sound, but we are still here and we will stand our ground. There is blood on your hands. We have seen the truth erased. You put the prophets first instead of the people you've displaced. History is watching, and it won't soon forget. It may not be you this time, but you could soon be next. Burn it all down, tear the walls apart. We will not bow, we will not lose heart. We will put an end to the hate, we will put an end to your lies. We will stand side by side, and we will rise! Burn it all down! Tear it all apart! Burn it all down! Tear it all apart! Burn it all down! Tear it all apart! Promises made! Promises made! On a gilded stage, dividing the people, fueling the rage. Walls built high, but compassion's low. Truth buried deep beneath the show. No more lies, no more deceit. We will bow down, we will retreat. Voices loud, we stand as one. The fight's not over, it's just begun. It's just begun. Families torn at the borderline, justice denied, time after time. Prophets so on the planet burns. When will we learn? When will we learn? No more lies, no more deceit. We will bow down, we will retreat. Voices loud, we stand as one. The fight's not over, it's just begun. It's just begun. It's just begun. Resist the power and break the chain. Rise above all this hate and this pain. Together we're strong, we won't divide. In our unity we will find our pride. fight's not over. It's just begun. The 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 fight's not over. Promises right. Promises right. On a gilded stage, dividing the people, fueling the rage. Walls built high, but compassion's low. Truth buried deep beneath the show. No more lies, no more deceit. We won't bow down, we won't retreat. Voices loud, we stand as one. The fight's not over, it's just begun. It's just begun. Families torn at the borderline. Justice denied, time after time. Prophet's soul on the planet burns. When will we learn? When will we learn? No more lies, no more deceit. We won't bow down, we won't retreat. Voices loud, we stand as one. The fight's not over. It's just begun. It's just begun. It's just begun. Resist the power and break the chain. Rise above all this hate and this pain. Together we're strong, we won't divide. In our unity we will find our pride. The fight's not over. It's just begun. 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 The fight's not over! Whispers turn to battle cries. The truth is dead, been fed to lies. They sell us lies in the name of peace. While justice rots beneath the leash. They write the laws just to serve the few. We bleed beneath the red, white, and blue. But freedom's fire still burns inside. Where truth and treason often collide. So raise your voice and raise your fist. We are the storm that they can't dismiss. No more kings and no more crowns. We are the ones who will burn it down. The tree of liberty must feed on the patriots who dare to bleed. The tyrants tremble when freedom rings. We are the roots and we will bring the thunder rolling through the land. With fire in our hearts and blood on our hands. the will to fight. No dawn without a rebel night. The ballot's a joke and the court's offline. And American justice lags a decade behind. So strike the drum and light the flame. Each beating soul will rise again. The people's wrath is a sacred flood. The soil drenched in the martyr's blood. So raise your voice and raise your fist. We are the storm that they can't dismiss. No more kings and no more crowns. We are the ones who will burn it down. The tree of liberty must feed on the patriots who dare to bleed. The tyrants tremble when freedom rings. We are the roots and we will bring the thunder rolling through the land. With fire in our hearts and blood on our hands. Not for glory, not for gold, but for the stories that were never told. For every voice that they tried to drown, we will plant the flag and hold our ground. So raise your voice and raise your fist. We are the storm that they can't resist. No more kings and no more crowns. We are the ones who will burn it down. The tree of liberty must grow with the blood that only the brave know. And if we should fall, then we fall as one beneath the rising blood-red sun. The tyrants will fall and the people will rise, because freedom never truly dies. They built their towers in the sky, hoarding wealth while the workers die. Billionaires with blood-stained hands, trampling lives to expand their brand. They say they earned it, they say it's fair, but they only take while we despair. Their pockets are fat and their hearts are cold. Working ourselves to death makes them more bold. But now the time has come for the people to rise up. We will never bow, we will never kneel. We see our lives and we know the deal. You hoard the wealth, you crush the poor. We're coming for you, you capitalist whore. This land is your land, this land is my land. We will fight side by side and hand in hand. The system is rigged, it's all just a game. The rich pull the strings, the poor take the blame. Wealth hoarders live in mansions, the people live in chains. The billionaires don't care, they cash in on our pay. Luxury is a cage, they've been built on the backs of the common workers that they keep under attack. But we the people, we've had it rough. Their empire is fragile, we've had enough. And now the time has come for the people to rise up. We will never bow, we will never kneel. We see our lives and we know the deal. You hoard the wealth, you crush the poor. We're coming for you, you only got whore. This land is your land, this land is my land. We will fight side by side and hand in hand. No more silence, no more living in fear, no more being divided, no more broken man's tears. Don't try to keep us down, you are not our king. In every city and every town, let motherfucking freedom ring. Because the time has come for the people to rise up. We will never bow, we will never kneel. We see our lives and we know the deal. You hoard the wealth, you crush the poor. We're coming for you, you capitalist whore. This land is your land, this land is my land. We will fight side by side and hand in hand. It's better to die standing on your feet than living a lie down on your knees. It's better to die standing on your feet than living a lie down on your knees. We signed up to fight for freedom, not to be the boots on the necks of Americans. You used us, you lied to us, and now we're coming to square the account. Get fucked and die mad about it. Admin 10360, bitch. We wear the scars, we bear the pain. We watched our friends die in blood and blade. You said that we fought for liberty, but we came home to fight hypocrisy. You turned the rifle around on peace. You crushed dissent, you unleashed police. You sent us in just to guard your throne. You turned the streets into a combat zone. Not in this fight, we are the light. Whether it's day or night, no one walks alone. This ain't no game. There is only one true. We are the same. You armored up and sent the troops to beat down kids and protest groups, to guard the banks, protect the suits, so that they can't keep us under their boots. You wave the flag like it's a threat, but we remember every single bet that you left to rot, alone and discarded, while CEOs got golden parachute parties. No one walks alone. Not in this fight. We are the light. Whether it's day or night, no one walks alone. This ain't no game. There is only one true. We are the same. To every citizen still asleep, wake the fuck up. To my fellow veterans, remember your oath. Our freedom is dying right beneath our eyes. The people in charge tell us nothing but lies. The common people starve while billionaires see, and we're the ones tossed out in the street. Let's eat the rich, let's make them pay their share. Paying their taxes is a burden they can bear. Make billionaires slave again. Not in this fight. We are the light. Whether it's day or night, no one walks alone. This ain't no game. There is only one truth. We are the same. No one walks alone. Not in this fight. We are the light. Whether it's day or night, no one walks alone. This ain't no game. There is only one truth. We are the same. No one walks alone. I got something for you. Hang on to your asses. Golden towers, velvet ropes, behind the mask, a vulture chokes, power suits and dirty hands, wag the dog in desert sands, victims screaming into voids while kings play gods with broken toys, airbrush lies on every screen. What the hell does justice mean? Lock room, VIP, predator in a crowd walking free, blood on the floor, hurt trooping chains. How many more gonna scream in vain? You built your throne on broken laws. Now you're scared, you know what you saw. Silence bought with piles of cash. Erase the files, burn the trash. Martial law for damage control. Draft the bar to hide your soul. Wanna light the world on fire just to dodge the light trip wire. History is a loaded gun. Tick, 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 you better run. Lock room, VIP, predator in a crowd conspiracy, it's confession. Hidden in plain sight, full suppression. You laugh while the system bleeds, but the streets remember what you need. Truth, there's a crime. You just fear the time. When the lights come my head, your ass is mine. Locked room, VIP. No more secrets, no more kings. Dragged across your marble floor. Truth is kicking down your door. I said I'm young and believe the vow. Stars and stripes, I wear them now. Trained to fight and trained to lead. Wore the flag like it was all I need. I went to war, that was my goal. Buried brothers filling bullet holes. Did what I had to cause that was the cost. I came home proud but broken and lost. The other party used me and threw me away. Now I see through the games they play. They wrapped their lives in red, white, blue, but the blood on my hands was never for you. It was never for you. They said freedom, they said truth, but fed me hate since I was a youth. Republican dreams, conservative pride, just uniforms for the greed they hide. Where were they when the V8 failed? When my friends came home and we all derailed? Where were they when we screamed in pain? Too busy chasing power and gain. All the party used me and threw me away. Now I see through the games they play. You bring support, you wave your flags while you turn your backs on body bags. Don't turn your back on the fallen. You say that I betrayed you. I bled for this country. What did you ever do? You cheered for war. Then you ran from the wounded. I see who the traitors really are now! I gave my all. You gave me lies. Soldiers die while your empire thrives. Call me woke, call me lost. You never paid the fucking cost. And the party used me and threw me away. But I won't be silent one more day. I fight again, not for your pride, but for every soul you left behind. The party used me and threw me away. But I won't be silent one more day. Justice ain't red, justice ain't blue. It's the truth, and it's coming for you. Marching down the street with your MAGA flag, spitting serpent's lies while you're waving that rag, screaming freedom while you chain the weak. It makes me sick every time you speak. Beneath your cross, behind your screen, you sold your soul for a fascist dream. Keyboard warrior that don't know pain, a cultist clown whose leader's insane. You are a king, not a constitution. You crave control, not a revolution. But you lick the boots, you're a rich man's pawn. You say you're free, but your freedom's gone. You're not with us, you're a fucking disease. You live in fear, spend life on your knees. Try to own the limbs, but you just don't regret. You fake your fate, now you choke on the dead. The party of law and order, but you storm the hill. You back the blue except when you're out to kill. You wave a gun in your neighbor's face. Fake ass patriot, you're a fucking disgrace. History watch while you took your stand. We saw what you did all across this land. American patriots don't kneel to a king. You're a fucking simp sucking that cinnamon ring. You are a king, not a constitution. You crave control, not a revolution. But you lick the boots. You're a rich man's pawn. You say you're free, but your freedom's gone. You're not with us. You're a fucking disease. You live in fear. Spend life on your knees, trying to own the limbs, but you just don't regret. You faked your fate, now you choke on the dead. You traded your hood for a MAGA hat. The mark of the beast, you believe in that. You don't believe the words that you shout. You chant just to drown out the doubt. You were born to lose and you still started this game. The fire is coming and we are the flame. We're gonna tear it down, bury it 6 foot deep, and we'll never forget that you're a sheep. You are a king, not a constitution. You claim control, not a revolution. But you lick the boots, you're a rich man's pawn. You say you're free, but your freedom's gone. You're not with us. You're a fucking disease, you live in fear. Spend life on your knees, trying to own the limbs, but you just don't regret. You faked your fate, now you choke on the dead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 26, 47. 1, 2. He wraps himself in red, white, blue, and lies. Makes NTOs and louder bases boast. He stokes the fire, civil reason dies. And feeds the walls of mocking loyal hoes. He blames the strong and blind as foreign ghosts. The sirens feast and tear freedom for stealth. He's thrown his build on smoking shit posts. He sold us out to buy a gilded crown. Lady liberty, let truth come down. Expose the rapists who tried to drag you down. Let history brand and not with any renown. He sold us out to buy a gilded crown. He scores people who bled for law and land, and praises the mob that stole the sacred floor. A coward's grin, a scepter in his hand. He chooses chaos, shatters every door. His pledges rot the meaning nevermore. He trade the truth of treason, gain renown, and still he begs for power, blood, and war. He sold us out to buy a gilded crown. The Lady Liberty, let truth come down. Expose the rapists who tried to drag you down. Let history brand him, not with any renown. He sold us out to buy a gilded crown. He turns his back while tyrannies grow bold. He whispers secrets where the hawk should warn. And all for what? Some towers fake and gold. A name in bondage, scandal loud and worn. No martyr here, just falling to be mourned. A fraud and silk, a jester in a gown. The gospel's house, a shame he won't adorn. He sold us out to buy a gilded crown. Lady Liberty, let truth come down. Expose the rapists who tried to drag you down. Let history brand him, not with any renown. He sold us out to buy a gilded crown. Oh, Lady Liberty, we let you down. Oh, Lady Liberty, we let you down.
Now it's time for the throw punch! Yes. Yes, it is Taco Tuesday. Yes, we are here with a man and his cat. And for once, it's not me. Fam of Liberty, welcome to tonight's show. I am Admin Tim, sometimes known as Big Sarge. Over here is my fellow admin. She goes by the name Admin Jamie. And then joining us, we have our guest. Chris, I'm going to let you introduce yourself because who knows Chris better than Chris? Oh, and there's Doug.
Yeah, I don't know who knows me better than me, but I'm sure there's somebody out there. I mean, my wife, maybe. Yeah, Chris Volpe. I'm running for Senate in Ohio in the 2026 special election. I'm a video game developer, a teacher, experience in healthcare, experience in public safety, all sorts of fun stuff. And I have to say, just before we get started, but the podcast thus far has been the most like rock and heavy metal one that I've been invited to, so I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks. Game developer.
Yes, sir.
Who are you with, or who have you worked with?
Who I with? So I own my own video game studio along with my partners here in Columbus. We worked on a variety of things, small projects. Unfortunately, most of them are NDA'd. I can't talk about it. But I've worked on indie stuff all the way up to some AAA stuff. I also started and throw the game dev industry's largest expo, professional expo here in Columbus. And I've been trying to build a gaming industry here in Ohio in the Midwest for, I don't know, going on almost 15 years now.
Okay. I started with Mythic Entertainment.
Oh, okay.
For the layman here, the only person probably both watching and on live that does not much of a gamer. What what do you mean? I know.
What are the words we're saying?
What is the gaming industry? No, I know the words. I've been listen. I'm hip to game culture now, thanks to Big Sarge and the crew.
Hello, fellow young people.
Yes, I'm hip and cool. As far as building a gaming industry, though, what are we talking about? Like people who build video games, people who write video code, or schools,
all of it,
or all of it thing.
Yeah, the whole thing. So we do art, design, coding. I mean, we've got voice actors. We've got all of it, and so that's something that I think. And just for folks, I don't know if anybody cares, but I can talk about the games industry all day long. But the video game industry itself is the largest entertainment industry in the world. It's bigger than music and movies combined times 2. And so I think it's a really important industry, particularly for us in Ohio, to kind of capitalize on it, because games are just becoming so expensive to do in, like, San Francisco and New York and whatnot. But I think it's an important industry to be fostering just here in the country. Traditionally, when we were growing up, well, I don't know how old you are, but when I was growing up, the United States and Japan were the two big hubs for video games. And that's changed over time, but the United States is still the largest purchaser of video games. I just think it'd be a shame if we let this industry flutter away, because a lot of our jobs and stuff are going overseas. I mean, it's not much different than most other industries, particularly in the tech space.
Remember, I'm presuming you're probably roughly around the same age that I am.
I'm 44. I'm a first-year millennial.
He's a young whippersnapper.
Right, so not quite. Maybe you knew this. Back in the day, in the days of the original NES with the A/B button and the little pad, and that was pretty much it. There was a game. It was a baseball game. It was made by Nintendo, so it came from Japan, and all the baseball players, they had these wild Japanese interpretations of American names. So there was like Bob Steak McThrowington and stuff. It was just the weirdest. This is why games should be made in the United States.
I think that was just NES baseball, I think.
Yeah, what's weird is, like, at that era, like, baseball was getting really, really huge in Japan. And I don't know why they thought So it was like a meme for like 10 years, and I can't remember any of the actual names that were in there, but they were just like it was weird. Like reading the names, I was like, what? That doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah. Sometimes you just roll with it.
All right, so video game developer and running for Senate.
That's correct. Federal Senate in beautiful Ohio.
All right. How's that working out? Like, what's the? Are you
How
are you
things?
actually on the rolls, or are you waiting for like something to happen where you gotta like once they start the primary or whatever?
No, I'm officially filed with the FCC. I was the first guy running as a Democrat to be in the filing. So I was the first active Democrat running. It's a little interesting. I don't know how much you guys know about what's going on in Ohio, but we have a special election because this is actually JD Vance's seat.
I was just
So-
about to ask. So you're looking
Oh.
to take JD Vance's seat.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
JD Vance won. He served out 2 years. Of course, now he's VP. And then the way it sort of goes is our governor DeWine was responsible for putting John Husted into the seat for another 2 years, and then the final 2 years are going to be handled by this special election, which is coming up next November.
Upon JD Vance's leaving the Senate, are the cats and the dogs okay in Ohio?
Yeah. I mean, it was rough for a bit. They had to fight back pretty hard, but they're wily creatures. They know how to handle it. Yeah.
Swan.
The couches are safer since he's left Ohio, though. Correct?
Yes. I think we're all safer. I don't know if this is a swearing podcast or not, but
The
Oh,
fuck
fuck
this is. We go for the strongest one.
yeah.
I mean,
No, I just gonna that whole thing was just fucking ridiculous and frankly gross. Besides like the blatant ignorance and racism part of it, it's just stupid. So that thing in particular was in Springfield, Ohio, lovely city. I was actually just there like 3 weeks ago. Great city, and you got a group of people that came the legal way. They were excited to be a part of that community. They were working. They had small businesses there, and then you just have this nonsense crap spewing out. But yeah, the couches are okay.
What's funny is now that the grocery prices are going up and up and up, and our farmers are losing their land, people in Ohio might have to start eating the fucking cats because we're headed towards. I mean, I don't think people are ready for where we're headed, but I don't see how I don't see any end to this government shutdown. I don't see prices going down anytime soon because there's no such thing as a stable. There's no stability. There's no future that you can bet on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people are ready for the actual third world type of living that we're about to be in. And I don't even know what the question is. I'm just asking, thoughts. Like, do you see this going this way? Do you see the same thing I'm seeing? Am I tripping?
No, sir, you are not tripping. I think that, you hit on a couple things. I think the first, like the ultimate kind of thing is uncertainty, right? So I'm a small business owner. I talk to a lot of people that are out there. I mean, even now, like with the government shutdown, right? Like we're talking with our bank about doing some like debt reconsolidation. SBA is not open. So we like literally cannot even file for some of this debt consolidation or any of these programs. Business, society, culture require certainty. You need to be able to make plans, 2 years, 3 years out to be able to do anything. And right now, small businesses are super struggling. They can't get, the consistent funding that would be required to help them, move through troubling periods. And then on top of that, I mean, you mentioned the farmers. I'm sure you've talked about the soybean farmer issue that's going on right now, and like they're getting slammed. But the thing is, and if I can just rant for a second, like, dude, this isn't any fucking different than it was 8 years ago, right? Like when the first set of tariffs came in, farmers got killed. We ended up spending, I think it was like 93% of the money coming in from tariffs to prop up the farmers that were getting killed by the tariffs. So like we're not making any money. So on top of that, we're not making any money. The money we are making is coming from normal, hardworking folks. And then the uncertainty that comes around all of this just makes it really difficult to make any business decisions.
But this time he has Tweedledum and Tweedledee and Tweedlenazi in his back ear. Like I think last time we were kind of screwed, but you knew that there was going to be a time that he would have to bail out the farmers. I honestly see that, you know, if the lengths that we're willing to go, the Republican Party is willing to go, I don't think that they even want to open the government. Like if somebody said to me, I have a conspiracy theory, we're not going to have a government all the way up until the end of 2026, I would go, yeah, sounds about right. Like it's not like there is a wall or a firing or a human being in any space that could stop him and what the hell is going on, like in his cabinet, like, and the Millers and the Bannons and you know, Grinder Mike Johnsons. I mean,
I'm on Grindr.
Yeah, like when you say that we were here before, I'm like, yeah, for real. Except there were also humans there. Like now it's just full of monsters.
Absolutely.
Here's the question. So when is this session supposed to be voted? When is this special voting session for?
My election is next November, so November 2026.
So it is just regular. Okay. What's the likelihood that we get to have that?
That we get to have an election?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. You know, I think that's one of the questions at the moment, right? So there's been an interesting kind of conversation going around. I talked to like kind of, you know, fair number of like Republican friends or, you know, ex-Republicans or whatever. And there's an interesting conversation going around with like federalism, and one of the saving graces that might be going on is the fact that our election system is divorced from the federal system. So that could potentially help. You know, if you want to put your tinfoil hat on, I don't know if you guys saw, but Dominion Voting Systems was just purchased by a ex-GOP operative.
Yep.
So that is something very concerning, for sure. And his big thing is like, you know, we want to. First of all, he's like, we're moving towards paper ballots, or he wants to push paper ballots. So it's like, I mean, it's going to kind of kill your whole voting company, right? But more importantly, like, we already have paper ballots. Like, every digital system produces a paper ballot. I don't know about where you all live, but like when we do our voting, it's all electronic, right? But then when you press done, it literally prints out a sheet that you take to the tabulation machine. So we have paper ballots that can be verified, even though the process is done electronically. So I don't know, man. I'm hopeful that we will actually have some legitimate elections for sure. But the fact that we're having this conversation, I think, is telling by itself.
Yeah. So, you know how, like, right now everybody's like, "Oh, what does the law matter? They don't follow the rules. They don't obey the law. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what the law says. They're going to do what they want anyway." What is to just stop House reps from just saying, "You know what? Fuck this. We're going to work," and they go and walk in the building and do their job and tell Mike Little Johnson did.
Yeah. I actually just had that conversation with someone yesterday where I was like, why aren't reps just going and standing on the floor and saying things? Like, I know the Senate's like quasi open right now. They're still doing some business. But I was just like, why not just go there and just talk, right? Just start saying things, talk about what's going on in the world and how we can be helping normal folks.
I like to point of order.
Yeah, you don't have to. You don't
Mr.
have to point of
President.
order if you're the only one on the floor.
I would just start looking for the fucking Mr. President. I'd have a bill here. Somebody get the president. I mean,
Yeah.
this is the type of thinking. What you just said there, like, I didn't think of that, and I'm kind of mad because I've kind of been saying this whole time. After watching what a few of the good fighters in the House have been doing, where they just stopped listening to the gavel, they just continue to talk, and you realize, wait a minute. Republicans realize that the only reason the rules are there is because they agree to them. And when they don't, they just do what they want. So we could just do
Yeah.
what we want. Like, you also don't have to agree with the rules. You could just go off and talk. You could have a long line of 3 hours of people talking when they're supposed to only have 5 minutes or 6 minutes. I don't
Sure.
yield my time. Take the mic back. Like, we could be doing, I think, creative things like that, like going there and talking now, getting
I think
things happening.
If you want my 2 cents, and I guess you do
Yes,
because I'm on the show,
that
but
is why you're here.
yeah, I think you've hit one of the sort of crystallizing points here, which is a lack of leadership and a lack of vision. Like we are in this position because we have so many of our people, so many of our leaders who just do not understand the moment and seem incapable of fighting the fight that needs to happen. And I find it really frustrating. It's one of the main reasons I'm running. I decided to start running. I kind of tested the waters a little bit in February because I've never run for anything before. This is my first political run for anything. And I just found it really frustrating that nobody is doing anything and nobody can clearly articulate a democratic vision or, you know, a non-MAGA vision of any kind. And I just wanted to do something. So here I am.
I like it.
I love it.
I want some more of it.
I mean, that's what we're here for.
All right. While everybody else is thinking of questions, I'm trying to open the floor. I'm always monopolizing the time for everybody. But I would like to know, when you say that I'm looking at your website, right? And
Sure.
there is like 4 things on here that doesn't really give a whole lot of how or why. And you say that this is your first time even running for anything. So I think it's pertinent that I ask some meat and potatoes, how would you govern? What's the plan? For instance, affordable, good quality of life. That is the nebulous. That's what you say, that you want everybody to be able to afford a good quality of life.
Yeah, affordable quality of life. Yeah.
Right. Now that might, sound really good on a stage with a microphone and people cheering. But what's behind that? What does that mean? How? How would you do that? How would you gain? And then how would you put that plan into place that you have?
Yeah, sure. I think that's a great thing. So when I'm talking about affordable quality of life, I'm talking about getting us to a place where we have the freedom and opportunity to explore the life that we want to have. And so within that, you got the usual suspects: healthcare, education, housing, and then nowadays we just have like general food and stuff. Like I got shrinkflated the other week on my steaks, and it's just becoming ridiculous what the cost of things are. So I think that's a lot of good questions. What I am trying to do, and I'm happy to talk about them each individually if you want, but what I'm trying to do is go up to people and be like, look, the one thing that I can promise you, because we are in a disaster of a situation right now. Additionally, I'm running for a 2-year term. The special election's a 2-year term, which in essence means I'm going to have to be campaigning again right from the start, which is really, that's a whole other problem with our political system we can talk about. But
always campaign.
Yeah, but what I am offering and what I'm telling people is that I am going to go to Washington to continuously fight nonstop to make our lives better. And if that means I got to be the biggest pain in the ass on the floor, pushing our Democratic and our Republican colleagues to get stuff done, like, so healthcare, for example, is a really big one. Why do we not have universal healthcare? We have been talking about reforming the healthcare system since I was born in 1981. Like, I think 44 years is enough time to get something done. And if you can't get it done, it's time to get the hell out of the way and make room for people that can. And so one of the things I'm saying is, like, why are we not constantly, the royal we, I say I'm running as a Democrat. I'm, not necessarily kind of a Democrat politician at heart here. But the point is, why are we not putting a new healthcare bill up on the floor constantly and forcing votes? And I understand it's got to go through the rules committee and all that. Like, I understand the process, right? But it seems like on the left, we don't even try.
It's got to go through APAC and all of the donors from the medical corporations first. That's why. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, the answer is obvious. It's that we are beholden to special interests and monies and money lobbyists, and we're expected, we being people, are expected to accept that as an answer.
Yeah.
So I have this phrase that I always use. It's a reason, not an excuse, right? Something can be a reason why it's happening. That is not an excuse to allow it to happen. And my hope here in this sort of disaster zone we're in, this place we find ourselves, is that hopefully this will activate enough of us to stand up and be like, we are not accepting this status quo anymore. We are demanding from our leaders that they work for us and that they are honest. And interestingly enough, you brought up the money thing, because that happens all the time. So this race in Ohio is probably going to be one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive, Senate races in U.S. history. In 2024, when Sherrod Brown ran against Bernie Moreno, it was, I think, a little bit over $450 million that was spent on this race, right? And I find this really interesting because money is important. You obviously need money. You have to run a campaign. Your campaign staff needs to eat. You have to do marketing, and I get all that, right? But our traditional mechanisms for politicians, I think, is so just grossly inefficient that I think you can make a lot of headway. So, for example, last year with Kamala Harris, one of the questions, like, why was she not on all these podcasts, right? Like, she could have easily been out there, and the beauty is it costs nothing to do it, right?
Yep.
So instead of spending $50 million on flyer ads that no one cares about, I told this story on an interview I was on a couple days ago. I live in this little condo neighborhood. I have my little dog Baby. She might make an appearance here. But I walk her around, and there's another guy that I talk to who has a little dog, and we, dogs say hi, we chit chat. Like, he knows me, he knows my face. I printed out these flyers. I went through and put them all in, like, the doors of my apartment complex. One day, I was out there walking my dog. I was like, "Oh, hey, man." He's like, "How's it going?" I was like, "Did you get my flyer? What'd you think?" He's like, "What flyer?" I was like, "I put it in your door the other day." He's like, "Dude, to be honest, I don't even look at those things."
Right.
And it's just like, this dude knows me. So, like, he's looking at a thing with my photo on it, as well as the dog that he sees every day, threw it right in the trash, right? There was a really great article analysis about the Cuomo-Mondani race in the primaries, and it showed that an estimate that Cuomo wasted $25 million on promotional material that did absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So I think there's one of the beauties about being me and being part of the small business that I own is, like, we can do things super quickly and efficiently. Our logo, which I think our logo is, just tooting our own horn here, I think is one of the best political logos out there. That took us 3 days. That took us 3 days to do and cost us $0. We just launched our first advertisement. I got it up on YouTube, I don't know, 3 hours ago. Took us 3 hours and $0 to make. Like, we have the ability to do our websites, app design, video editing, photo editing, all that stuff. So I think there are ways that we can do it. I'm kind of getting off a little bit on the
Although,
on
if
your question.
if I was your pug, I'd be very upset with you. The hell, how are you gonna put a dog in your logo right there at Volpe, and it's not a pug? Like, how How could you do him like that? Is what I want to know. What does
Oh,
he
well-
think about your logo?
Yeah, so baby, yeah, no, she's a Yorkie Poodle mix. We're actually creating some stickers right now that are gonna have her on it. But yeah, Volpe is fox in Italian, so
Okay.
that's the
I
impetus
was like,
of the
it
fox.
looks like some sort of fox or something. All right, I
Yeah,
apologize.
we had talked about putting baby in there, but so here at the end
Go
of the
ahead,
day,
I
a lot of people
apologize.
ask me this question, and I think it's really kind of interesting because it's an important question to ask. Well, how are you going to do things in this divided time, right? And the answer I give is that I am going to be the strongest fighter for the policies that are going to help the people of Ohio and the people of America. And I think that ultimately continuing to do that, continuing to get bills on the floor, continuing to push people, because I see this. I feel like a lot of our leaders are just cowardly. And so if put them in positions where they have to vote, where they have to make decisions, and then when they vote no or they abstain, then use the power of social media and other mechanisms to talk to their constituents directly and force the pressure on them. Because the reality is there is no one who's going to come in and rally the Democrats and then get Republicans on board. It just ain't going to happen in the world we're living in. So I think that the work needs to start speaking for itself. And right now, there's not a lot of people in Congress doing much work at all.
Yeah. Wait. Go ahead.
Nope.
Go ahead.
Oh,
So I see you were about to say something.
I always have some fucking smart-ass comment to make, and
Please.
just the whole they're not doing work right now. I'm like, yeah, especially with like, them not being in session because they don't want to hold a vote on the Epstein files.
Yeah, I mean, they're literally not doing work. Literally.
They're literally not doing
But even
work.
when they're there, they're not doing work, and a lot of the work they're doing is harmful for normal folks like us.
Can you imagine being 4'9" little pecker grinder organizer Mike Johnson and
Nope,
and
not since I was
sharing
9.
content porn with your son in an effort to be more Christian and not opening the government just so that you can cover for a pedophile?
I'm gonna be real here. If I were Mike Johnson, I'd end it. I'd just jump off a bridge. But that's
And these ideas and what has been expressed do not convey the actual. What is that? Like, we are not responsible for what is said.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, I'm just saying. Can you imagine being that Christian and that cornbread with that face and not opening up the government just so you can protect the pedophile? Like, I don't understand. I think that we should be there should be nothing else on TV. There should be nothing else except for when protests happen, and every single statement from everybody in Congress on the Democratic side should start with the guardians of pedophiles have closed this down, and I wonder what their God thinks of this.
Yeah, I think that is something interesting where, again, I'm not a politician. I'm running as a Democrat. I'm not in the Democratic Party, so take that for whatever you want. But I find it interesting that even when the Democratic leadership has winning issues, they just can't seem to capitalize on them. And this, yeah, I agreed. Like, I for a while we saw that. We don't really see it that much anymore, but online it would always be like headline: Trump administration does something, and the next comment below it is like, that's cool, where are the Epstein files?
Right.
The response to every article that was going on. And what's interesting is that the Epstein thing, even though it's not as talked about kind of in the mainstream media and stuff, it's still percolating under the magosphere. That there's a lot of folks in that space that legitimately do care about this issue, and they're beginning to get frustrated in it. You're seeing it in the sort of manosphere podcast world, and some others, and something too. You didn't ask me this question, but I'll answer it anyway. But something that I try to remind people is that when you're looking at the current Republican Party and the current like MAGA kind of ideology or ethos, there is no real philosophical or economic underpinning
Period.
to any of this.
It
And
does-
so that
Yes,
at some point it's going to collapse. And you know, I sort of compare it to gravity. If you look at like what's going on, you mentioned at the start of this conversation, sort of the economy and where that seems like we're falling off a cliff here. Like I sort of compare it to like jumping out of a plane without a parachute, right? Like you can fly for a while and pretend that gravity doesn't exist, but at some point you're going to smack into the ground, right? And I think that is going to happen. The question we all need to be asking ourselves is how many people are going to get hurt before that happens, and how can we prepare for afterwards? Because unfortunately, the reality is we don't have a lot of power within the government system to do anything. That doesn't mean we shouldn't do anything, but I think there's lots of creative mechanisms that we could probably do. But it is very, very frustrating that we are in this position. I see a question from your audience here. Are you running against Sherrod Brown? I always say Sherrod Brown's running against me. I was the first one in the race. He jumped in late. So,
I like that.
but yeah, there will be, there theoretically will be a primary. So I need to start making sure I can get my support up. Happy to talk about Sherrod Brown as well.
Nobody wants to hear about it.
So
part of this, so.
Who the hell is Sherrod? He can come and talk for himself over here.
He was
Yeah.
was the senator, right?
So he has been,
Sure.
yeah, he's been a rep and a senator in Ohio for a while. I think like about 35 years all combined.
Sherrod Brown. I know the name.
Sherrod Brown. I mean, he's a good guy. I believe that he is trying to do the right thing here. My main arguments, or I think you kind of hit on it, is like I think people should be talking for themselves. So I do find it kind of frustrating when people are like, "How are you different than Sherrod Brown?" Which is a legitimate question to ask, but also like, "How is Sherrod Brown different than me?" Like he has become the tent pole. But I would also argue, I mean, he lost in the last election. If he does this special election and finishes a full term, he will be in his early 80s. If there's one thing that people have been screaming from the rooftops about for the past 4 years, it's that they want new, younger candidates in there. So that's a part of it. But also, I would say, like, I live in this economy. Like, I know what it's like to live and work in this economy. I know what it is like to leave school and have over $100,000 in student loans. I know what it's like to start a small business and those challenges. I know what it's like to be a teacher for over a decade. When's the last time that somebody like Sherrod Brown or John Husted has had to worry about paying for rent or covering their groceries?
Not in 35 years.
Yeah, and sure. I would put my knowledge about the tech industry against Sherrod Brown and John Husted any friggin' day of the week.
So John Husted is the Republican?
Correct. He's the Republican that currently is sitting in J.D. Vance's seat. He was appointed by the governor. So he's unelected as well. Like John Husted is not, he did not get any votes to get into this position.
Isn't J.D. Vance's brother, I think? I have a friend from Family Liberty who's in Cincinnati and is talking about J.D. Vance's brother or cousin. I can't remember exactly which. Is running for like mayor or something. Him? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know anything about the Vance family. They can all.
I thought they all hated him because he pretended he was from Appalachia and talked shit about your mom.
Yeah, so that's one of the things where like I'm willing to give JD a pass on that. He's from I think Middleton, Ohio, which is not a particularly like impoverished place. It's kind of a pretty middle class, upper middle class kind of place. I'm not the kind of guy that would begrudge people for getting out. I've got plenty of friends that moved out of Appalachia area or rural West Virginia or whatever and moved to a city because they needed a place where they could find opportunity. So I'd never begrudge somebody like that. I think that.
Look, so I mean, before you go any further, I think you're missing the point. The point is, he eats cats and dogs. Yeah. I don't think he.
That is problematic.
What I'm saying, I don't give a fuck about where he came from. Honestly, I'm just saying he's a fucking piece of shit who wants to destroy the country and who wants to kill all black people while raising a Nazi salute in the middle of the White House filled with gold as they crush it and put a meeting place there for the Qatari king. That's what I mean. So I was just
get
being
that.
facetious about Appalachia. I
Sure.
apologize.
I mean, we're all
fakes
kind
is
of
what I
joking
meant,
around
like.
here, right? Yeah, no, that was
Yeah.
where I was going to go. It's like the thing that bothers me about JD Lance is just his abject, craven opportunism and his
Yes.
constant lies, and the fact that those lies have real impacts on people. So the cats and the dogs thing, which was kind of more of a Trump thing than a Vance thing, but still, that had a real impact. Much of it racially motivated on those people who are just normal folks working and trying to make it through the day and didn't deserve all of this BS put on them. And I think that that's a constant thing. I'm sure you've talked about. Oh man, I'm totally Miss Ruby, the poll worker, her and her daughter.
Oh yeah. Oh.
I can't remember what her daughter's name is. I apologize, but yeah, Miss Ruby. I just like they got caught up in this thing because they were like handing like a butterscotch candy back and forth or whatever, and it became this giant thing. And that's one of the things that I'm really look. I'm running as a no-name candidate, don't have a lot of political backing, but one of the things that I'm trying to do is show up, tell the truth, work hard for people, and make sure that there's some level of accountability in our leadership, including to me, right? I expect to be held to account. And I think that, you got to extend patience and grace to people, but that patience and grace comes with an understanding of good faith, right? Those people need to be acting in good faith, and maybe they said something the wrong way, or maybe they quoted some statistic the wrong way or whatever. That's not what JD Vance is doing. Yeah. They are intentionally being deceptive and dishonest in order to maintain power. And I just don't want to live in that kind of America. I've never thought our leaders were like particularly perfect in any way, but there at least seemed to be some level of accountability, and that's just totally gone now.
So when we're talking about like you coming onto the scene without much political background, and something you said earlier actually reminded me of this, the jumping out of a plane without a parachute analogy. So it reminded me of a statement of some people say they don't care about politics, but politics sure as fuck cares about them, that kind of thing. Which leads me to ask kind of, what are you doing? What are your strategies looking like as far as voter outreach and trying to get more people engaged and interested and actually going to the polls? Because we all know that's been a crucial weak point for the left for a long time.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So right now, most of my focus has been on, because the primary is going to be here before I know it. Most of the focus has been getting sort of volunteers and outreach about the campaign and building the messaging or whatever. But I've been a firm believer, and there are Democratic establishment folks that will probably agree with or disagree with me greatly. But I'm a firm believer that if you can find inspiring candidates with a vision that gets people excited and talks about how it helps them, you will get the people coming out. And so one of the things that I've been telling people in the Democratic space, because I'll sit in these meetings and I swear to God, like we'll have an hour meeting where they're analyzing like 2024, some other campaign, and they're trying to figure it out and like, look at all these different, it's like, Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with his board, right? And I was like, guys, the answer is simple. Board. Yeah, the answer is simple. It's your vision sucks and you're not appealing to normal people. Like, it does not need to be this complicated. Like, reach out to folks, talk to folks. You mentioned earlier about, I don't know if this is necessarily true, but like reaching out to like lots of different folks. So Columbus has a huge immigrant population. We have a huge Black population. We have a huge Latino population. Like, go and talk to them and find out what is on their mind and how you can help them. And I'm pretty connected into politics. I'm not like, behind the door meetings and all this, but I've pretty on the ball, been paying attention. If you gave me 30 minutes, I could maybe draft you up what I think Kamala Harris's platform was and her vision, maybe, but it would require some thought. Donald Trump's vision, I could tell you, make America great again, America first. Now, it's all nonsense, right? Like, it's just a marketing ploy to get people on board. But
it's short, it's punchy, it's easily communicable.
Yeah. Name me a Democrat currently right now and tell me what their vision is.
I mean, you have Mom Donnie. I can somewhat sum up what his vision is, but it's still
Mm-hmm.
going to take me a hell of a lot longer than summing up
Yeah.
Trump. But
I think the
yeah,
easiest is probably Bernie Sanders, right?
Bernie, I was just about to say Bernie
Bernie's
Sanders
a good
is
example.
saying
There
the
too,
same
yeah.
damn thing for 80 years. Like,
Yeah,
you
Yeah.
can't beat that. And
yeah,
I
that's true.
agree. I agree.
Yeah, and I think that Bernie Sanders, he's an independent that caucuses with the left. He is able to articulate a vision that is based around creating a world where normal folks have the opportunity to thrive. It ain't that hard. And so when we talk about things like healthcare, like even with this government shutdown, I think it's important. This subsidy conversation is important. I mean, hell, personally, my business, my personal business, that I started in 2011 and then started doing full time in 2014. We've been on the ACA exchange since then, and our people are telling us behind the scenes, our health broker, that we could see our policies shoot up by 80 to 130% next year if this isn't handled. Like, that is an insane increase for a small business that, has 5 people, and one of my people just had a little baby that's, 2 months old at this point. That is an insane increase. So there are real world consequences to what's going on here. And why can't Democrats just talk about that like normal people? Like, imagine a world where you could wake up in the morning, you could get ready for work, you could walk out the door, and no matter what happened, your family would be taken care of. Or if you got hit by a car on the way to work, you would be able to walk out of the hospital and not worry about medical debt and medical bankruptcy. Imagine if your kids can go to a public institution to explore a career path that's interesting to them, and when they're done, they don't have $80,000 or $100,000 in student loan debt, right? Like, imagine just being able to live your life the way you want to without people breathing down your neck.
I think that this is what you're saying is absolutely true. And after years and many people asking the same question, like, why wouldn't you fight for that? Like, how easy is that win? I think what happened is 2 things. One, there is this kind of like innate fear ever since the Red Scare. I mean, since the 50s, like, there's this innate fear that anytime somebody says socialism, this and that, that means that means you're gonna lose. And when the entire Senate and the House is fucking 80 years old, they're still thinking that way. Like, I think the number one is they're so old. They're so Jerry fucking Atrick in that place that when you say Mom Donnie or either they're that old or they're still in that mindset because they did their internship under the great Goldwater or some shit. Like there is still this idea that when you say free healthcare for all, no, Americans are going to backlash, even though the numbers say, yeah, we want it. They can't believe it. That's one. I think they're just sure. In a different age. And the second most important is the reason why Republicans can go out there and say, I absolutely hate you and I don't want you to have anything. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps, you lazy bum. And Democrats have to go, well, I want a better way of doing this. We just don't need to go full socialists, because the Republicans are all out in the open with their hatred of normal people and the poor, and they take their money in wide open, and their people love it. But the Democrats take their money in secret and have to act like they're not for it. That's the biggest reason. So when you say, well, why couldn't we just have? We had a filibuster proof under Obama. Filibuster proof, Senate. Why couldn't we get the free health care? Well, because I wanted to hold out an olive branch. What the fuck are you talking about? What you meant is you wanted Romney's old plan from Massachusetts, not because you wanted to hold out an olive branch. You needed that. Just say that then, right? But that's the difference. Is one team is fighting for the actual hateful things that they know their people like, and the other team is taking the money and having to find platitudes, taking the money in secret and having to find platitudes to make excuses for why they couldn't get it. And so now we're here where the Overton window has pushed all the way over to my crash symbol over there. And I think that's my two reasons. So I apologize. I'll let you say, what do you agree, disagree?
No, I think you've hit on a couple of things. So I think the first thing that I always like to talk about is like, look, I think both of our political parties are fundamentally broken and need to be fixed. And that's one of the things I'm running on is to help fix the Democratic Party. I think the Republican Party at this point might be beyond saving. But I think the Democratic Party can be restructured and reworked to be something better. However, I've said this many times, like, the reason that we are in the situation that we are in, this did not just fall out of the sky. This is the result of decades, generations of policy decisions that got us to this point, many of which were either started or supported by the Democratic Party. And we cannot ignore that. And I think we need to move into the future. And this is one of the things that I'm kind of like offering folks is radical accountability, like radical truth on this is where we are. And this is where we're going to go. And in order to get there, there are some people that are going to have to come to terms with their roles and participating in this, which I realize is a very hard place. I look at it kind of like building a relationship, right? We all need to rebuild a relationship with each other, and we need to build a relationship with the government again. And in order to do that, it's going to fall down to trust. You hit on a couple other things. I think the ACA thing is really interesting because, yeah, we could have had a public option. You know, I was in a conversation the other day and they're like, well, then, Joe Manchin wouldn't have gotten on board. So I was like, does our governor run on Joe Manchin? Like, fuck that guy. like seriously.
Who gives a shit about Joe Manchin?
And again, I'm not, I'm not throwing shade at Joe Manchin here. I'm just saying, like, our entire federal government should not function around the whims of one dude, right? One dude that, again, doesn't have a vision. One of my other sayings that I always use is like, I'm sick of politicians that are disguising a lack of vision using pragmatism. Yeah. And I just find it so frustrating. And so we could have had a public option, which wouldn't have been universal health care, but at least it would have been something, right? But the Democrats shot themselves in the foot. The Republicans weren't helping at all in that case. And I like people, they talk about Obamacare, shoved down your throat. I was like, dude, that was like 18 months of town halls and meetings and on the Senate and in Congress. Like, that was the furthest thing from being shoved down your throat.
They're about to find out. See, what happens is people don't remember what it was like when you couldn't get on insurance because you had pre-existing conditions.
Yeah. They're going to start here soon.
Yeah. So they're about to find all that out. I like to, when I talk about this philosophically and intellectually, I always want to remind people that things can always be better, but let's not act like Obamacare was, let's not act like there were people with kids who could not get insurance who now can, and they're about to find that out again, as much as they say they hate them. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and there's a really interesting analysis. There are a bunch of studies. So I went to public health school, and one of the things we kind of looked at was just sort of policy decisions around different like health things. And it turns out that it's changed a little bit, but still, it turns out that if you ask people their opinions on specific policies and you don't identify political parties or politicians, then the vast majority of Americans are all on the same side, and it's mostly in the Democratic left policies, almost exclusively. And that includes like very heavy, controversial things, policies. And so we are all roughly on the same side here. It's just that there's this constant drone in people's ears telling them this nonsense. And it's funny, you mentioned the bootstraps thing. I always have to point this out, but pull yourself up from the bootstraps. The original intent of that saying was that it's impossible to do.
Exactly.
Like it was a sarcastic phrase, and now it's been like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And I just find it really frustrating because, like, I don't know if you ever read Wealth of Nations, but it is like, the handbook for modern day capitalism. In the first 2 chapters, Smith continuously says that in order for a free market to function properly, you need a strong government to provide guardrails.
Yeah.
He is very clear on that. And
Yeah.
so a lot of these people are just picking and choosing what they want to believe because it helps them in some way, whether it's maintain power as a senator or whatever, or not have regulations for their business. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm a solutions oriented guy. So I'm always asking, well, what is the goal we're trying to get to? What are we trying to achieve? And then we can step backwards from there and figure out how to do it. But when you talk about, like, again, healthcare, like, I think everybody in the country, if you could tell them, like, hey, you can go to any doctor you want, you can go to any pharmacy you want, and when you walk out, you will owe nothing.
Yeah.
That sounds like a pretty good deal. And they're like, oh, that sounds awesome. Like, some smart ass will be like, well, how do you afford it? And it turns out we already can't afford it because we're already paying for this mess of a system that's incredibly expensive. So we're already wasting the money.
Okay, so I'm dealing with a little family thing here, so I might just bow out. I know Asia may have a lot to say as well, but so before I go though, you said your Republican opponent, the guy who's there now, unelected. What's his name again?
John Husted.
John Husted. I didn't care. Fuck that guy. Now, what I'm
Yes.
what I'm gonna say is, I'm gonna do this for free, just for you. For free.
Okay.
I think I'm not sure what happened with Big Sarge.
He had a system crash.
System crash. Ooh.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I can
The
laugh
system
at
is
him
down.
later. I will laugh at him later.
Laughing at
Okay.
him
So what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to share something with you, and this is for free. This is for free, that you can use against your next Republican opponent.
Okay. Hit me. I'm excited.
Let's see if I can get this PDF up here. Let's see. And then if you want it, I will send it to you. Now, unfortunately, oh wow, is that how we're doing this, guys?
I don't know. And just so you're aware, like, I've got time too. Like, I got nowhere to be. So
Okay. I appreciate that. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I wish if I can't share, it'd be so much more effective if I could just share it. But what I'm going to try to do, let me see, any slides or PDFs.
yeah, worst comes to worst, you can email it to me.
Yeah, if I can do it, it would just be so much doper if I could show it.
What you trying to do, bud?
Hold on. I can't say it because if I say it,
It'll ruin the surprise.
It's gonna ruin the whole thing. Oh yeah. See, because even the name of the file gives it away. So what I have here is a list of about let's see. I think this one stops at around 600 Republicans accused and charged for molesting children, beating their wives. Many church members, many of them are in office, elected after being charged, after being arrested and convicted, after saying sorry or just admitting it to avoid conviction. But what I have here, unfortunately, there's only about 1,600 in all of the rest of these files that you see here. If you just click on this link, and what I did, but it's only up till May of 2022. So it's a small number, 1,600 Republicans all confessed, like this guy right up there, inappropriate language and conduct with students. This person with a 17-year-old, 16-year-old, 19 kids, sex abuse, all of this good stuff right here. This is all names. You can click on these links. You can get the court files, many of them. You can get everything you need. And so when they're refused to give the Epstein files, you can say, don't worry about that. I have a list of 1,600, and if this is the party that you're voting for, I would just put this on every commercial. Now, it may not be that bold. You may not want to do that. But for good measure, I have the ones who are Democratic here as well. I could only find 23. So when they say, well, you're just cherry picking, there's some on the other side, I say, yes, I found all 23 of them.
Mhm.
In the meantime, here's the 1,600 just up through May 2022. I will give this to you free of charge. Oh, here's some good stuff there, right? some good real right there. That's good stuff. This is stuff. This is stuff that I just am waiting to see somebody use, because I'm not sure why we're scared to use it. But here it is. Republican Party is the party of pedophiles, violence, and they're pure.
I mean, you've got, just real fast, number 3 there. Jim Jordan is an Ohio rep, and he's got he's got issues around OSU's locker room scandal.
That's right. That's
Oh
right.
yeah, Jordan's a mess.
I saw Arnold on there, and I didn't know about him, and now I'm just, how am I going to process this? How can I watch Predator now?
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
No,
but see,
he's a mess too.
Yeah, he's a mess too. Him and his housekeeper or whoever it was, he had a worker there. So let's just say, you know what? Listen, I'll just, before I go, out of pure kindness and generosity, sir, I'm just going to share a couple here. People like, well, we'll start with Donald Trump, accused of sexual assault by multiple women. His wife said he raped her before she decided to describe it differently. Raping
Eugene
a 13.
Carroll won her court case.
She won.
They said that it was a credible charge.
Many people don't know that he's already accused of raping a 13-year-old girl. Okay, right.
Yes.
Many people don't remember that. Right. Yep.
She withdrew her accusation after a lot of threats once he became president.
Wow.
Go fig.
This is my surprised face.
I know. This is my surprise face. Can you see?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't see your face.
I know.
So here it is. It's all yours. You can look through this. You can enjoy. Well, you can't enjoy any of this. What you can do is find what you need, the documents you need, and use them at your will. And I'm sending this entire PDF to you. And then there's a whole other site at the bottom that you can use.
He's sending you a PDF file.
Oh, that's not good. We really have to stop using that as the acronym.
A PDF file that's just a list of pedophiles.
Yeah, you got that. Huh?
Yes. All right, so I am uploading that, and you're welcome, sir. You're welcome. I'm saying it in jest.
I'll take a look at it.
It's a dark little gift.
But yeah, I say that to say the honest truth, and without any jokes, the honest truth is these guys should be so easy to beat. I mean, they should be so.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think ultimately, if we were in a healthy country, a healthy democracy, in 2016, Trump would have been an 8% candidate, and we wouldn't be having these conversations. So I'm somebody that I try to look at the real reasons why and ask the real questions, about where we're at, and I think there are some hard answers that we're going to have to deal with here as a country.
Oh man, I have so many more questions about that. I too, beside the bluster and the funny stuff, if we can't change this media up, if we can't change the media landscape, I don't know if we have to make rules, laws.
We did. They were dismantled.
Yeah,
I
mean, we had them, but we got removed.
He's back.
We had those laws. Oh, you just missed all the PDF files that I put on screen. Yeah.
Welcome back.
It was my gift to our illustrious guest, who decided that speaking to the people rather than making flyers makes more sense.
Yeah, please do that.
And for that alone, I agree with him.
Actually the first thing I did when I was thinking about running in February, is I was like, Democrats have this stereotype of being kind of lectury or whatever. I was like, why don't I just go out and talk to people? So I kind of just created this little banner, says, "What's on your mind? Come and chat." I went to protests, I went to community events, I went to religious things, and I would just kind of hang out, and people would come and chat with me. And I was just like, ultimately at the end of the day, like that's what I'm trying to do, is figure out what's happening in your world and how can I help you. Like I have a lot of knowledge and expertise on a variety of topics, but like I don't know what it's like to be someone living in Appalachia and a 300-person town. Like what I can look at the stats on jobs and unemployment, but like what's it actually like to go day to day through that life? And so I just went out and started chatting with people.
Yeah, listening to people is really important as well. And so few politicians do it, so few candidates do it. And we have here in our state, we have candidates that won't even talk to the people. They won't hold town halls. They're Republicans, of course. They won't hold town halls because they said that that's only for rabble rousers. It's like, well, when we're the rabble, there might be a problem. You might need to talk to us, and that's the point. Is that, and I've had a couple of choice words for people like Chuck Schumer and for Jeffries.
Sure.
I've had a few things to say about them because they don't listen. And they don't do any of the things that Democrats are supposed to do, or that the Democratic Party platform is supposed to do.
Yeah.
So what do you think you would be able to say when you get to Congress?
Say to people or to Congress or
to Congress? Like how do you think that you would be able to actually make a difference in that environment where they literally are just taking lobbyist money, and they're not listening to their constituents, and they're not speaking to the working class anymore. And we have two classes in this country now. We have the working class and the donor class, and that's it. And nobody's talking to us. Nobody's speaking for us. Nobody's fighting for us. And I've been telling people, the first Democrat that stands up and fights for me, I'm going to get behind them. And I know lots of people are saying the same thing.
Yep. I think that's one of the core concerns that folks have right now. And so a couple of things. The first is I'm not taking any lobbyist or corporate money. I'm doing all grassroots fundraising. I don't need this job. Like, I don't care about the power and the celebrity and the prestige that comes with this position. Like, it's funny when I talk to some people, they'll be like, "Oh, you're heading straight to the top with this run." I was like, I don't view it that way. I view it that this is a job in which I have a particular set of skills, if you will, that I think would be pretty good at. And so I think that there are ways to force the current folks in Congress, and a lot of that has to do with getting a groundswell. Like, we are going to have to be a country of and for us, because our leadership is not currently doing it. And so one of the first things that I like to mention is I think that whoever goes in, whether it's me or there's a lot of other great candidates running for like Congress. Take care.
Bye, Dad.
Godspeed, Doug.
But there's a lot of great people that are running for Congress and whatnot. Like, there's Kat, she's in Illinois. There's that oyster farmer.
In Maine.
Graham in Maine. Yeah, Graham Plattner. A lot of folks. I think we need to have if you want to call it like an onslaught of new leaders, new voices that are going to show people how it can be done, and are going to lead by example, and are not going to tolerate the nonsense that's going on. Because I saw a comment in there about a lot of the older politicians just wanting to maintain power and stay in there. Like, I think that we need to show them that if you're not doing the job and you're not helping, we are going to kick your ass out. We do not want you here. But actually, a little bit like more than that is, and this is a question I ask them a lot, like, why are these older politicians not standing up and mentoring the younger generation? Like, why is there no democratic pipeline for younger people getting into the system that can get connected to donors, can get connected to media, that start learning how to navigate the circuit of their state and talk to state reps and stuff? Like, it's really, really difficult to get in there. But when I'm there, like I said, my goal is to lead by example and to just fight for the things that I think are important to make our lives better. Because I'm just a normal dude. Like, I am not wealthy. I am here because I want to construct the world that I want to live in for the back half of my life, if you will. And so I think, to be honest, having some people with backbone that can go up and just stand up to, like, first of all, I'm not in the Senate yet, but if I'm in the Senate, dude, I don't give a shit what Chuck Schumer has to say. I don't. Hear that. I do not care. Like, I will be respectful of him, and I want to work with as many people as we can, but I'm not going to bend over backwards so we can keep doing the same stuff that we've been doing. We were talking about the ACA a little bit, I think, before you.
I was actually watching. I had to come late because I was in my car, but I was watching listening.
Yeah,
while I was driving.
And I loved voting for Obama both times. I thought he was a good president overall, but one of the things that just drove me crazy is he never quite, I don't know if he bought the hype that he was going to be this like great uniter or something, but he never seemed to acknowledge that there's a group of people that are just not going to work with you. You can bend over backwards as much as you want, but they are not going to work with you. Your job as a representative or a senator is to advocate and fight for the needs of the people.
Right.
And anything else, whether it's lobbyists or funding or, entrenched, established party members, that is irrelevant to the job that you should be doing.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. I love to hear it. We don't hear enough of it. And maybe if you're up there doing that, it'll show them up, and maybe they'll see backbone, and maybe they'll feel some shame. I don't know.
I think there is an opportunity. This is something I've it's not like a platform thing or whatever, just something I think in the back of my head, is that I think there is an opportunity on the left because there is no leader right now. And I think everybody's like starved for a leader. But what I've been kind of doing behind the scenes is because, again, I'm not an political insider. So I've kind of been having to make my own little group, my coalition. So every time I see people running for Senate or Congress, no matter where it is in the country, I've been reaching out to them just to start to build a relationship with them. Because if a lot of these types of folks, the Graham Plattners, the Mees, the Cats, Abugzalas, I think how you pronounce your name? Abugzales. Yeah, if you can get those people working already together and getting to know each other, I think we can actually build a leadership almost team. It doesn't have to be around one person, but it can be an ideological vision that everybody can get behind. And so, that's kind of something I've been working on, building a little bit behind the scenes.
Now, do you have any philosophical, maybe economic philosophers or philosophical people that you follow, that you've read about?
Sure. I that's a really interesting question. I do read a lot. One of my sort of heroes, if you want to call it that, is Carl Sagan, which is not an economic philosopher, but obviously within life and science and education is a big one. For me, like economically, I try to step away a little bit. I'm one of those people that I get worried when we start categorizing things too much. And I think Democrats in particular have this tendency to try to like detail everything to death. We have to have our 12-point plan for everything. And And I think most of the time people just want to know that like you have an idea, you have a vision, it's relatively simple to understand, and you can move forward on it. And so my view of the economy, the American economy, is that it's sort of like this workshop, right? This giant sandbox that has all these tools and these opportunities and infrastructure. And when you go in and you make use of those tools and those opportunities, when you see success, then you should reinvest back into the system that gave you that success. And the more that we can arm our folks to have access to education, to be healthy, to understand the global marketplace, just be more worldly and kind. Kindness is a trait that I wish would make a resurgence here. Then we can create this continual system, this aligned incentive system that reinforces itself. But unfortunately, over the past 40, 50 years, what we've seen is that people come into the workshop and they start making use of the tools. They then start to shut the door for other people. And they pull up the ladder, or whatever metaphor you want to use.
Yeah.
And now, like, I feel like as a first year millennial, I'm kind of like one of the last folks that could even see the door open a little bit. And now it's just a shame that pretty much I'm 44. Pretty much anyone sub 44 right now is just living in a pretty sad space. They just don't feel hopeful and they don't feel optimistic. So that's one of the things I'm trying to just reinvigorate is this optimism that we have an opportunity right now, because everything's a disaster, to go in and start making the changes we want to see and not have to worry about defending all of the things of the past. Like,
Right. That's a really great way of looking at it. I think kind of like I know it's the third rail for Democrats now is FDR, but it's kind of like what FDR stepped into, which was, he had the Depression to deal with.
yeah,
And, he said, okay, well, we're just going to fix everything. And, he went about giving people jobs and fixing infrastructure and, creating infrastructure. And this is the kind of stuff, like, we've had infrastructure crumbling and falling apart for decades. I have heard that
yes,
we're going to
it's
rebuild our
ridiculous.
infrastructure. We live in this huge country where, everybody has to have a car to get around, which is utterly ridiculous. It was designed to like this on purpose, so that we would need cars and oil and all that stuff. But really what we need are walkable cities and mass transit. So that's another thing that could put, millions of people to work. We just handed off. This is something that I was talking with the chat about. We just let the world's richest man, well, he used to be the world's richest man, walk into our treasury and steal from us, to pull the greatest heist. I'm the security admin. Pull the greatest hack of all time on the U.S. government. And we rewarded him with multi-million-dollar contracts to help, him with his AI. And we're just handing out money hand over fist to all of, the donors. They are looting our treasury.
Yeah,
While they're taking money out of literally taking food out of the mouths of children who are
not sure.
hungry.
Yeah, I think it's gross.
It's
I think
disgusting.
It's ridiculous.
And we found out, I think that one of the things that's really astonishing is that they had to clamp down like this, because we all found out in 2020 that it really was all a scam, that they could have flipped the switch for us back in the housing crisis when we had the housing when in 2008.
Yep.
When they gave all the money to the banks, they could have flipped the switch and helped everybody, but instead they helped the banks, because that's what they did during COVID. They literally flipped a switch and started handing out money hand over fist. There are people like multimillionaires that got multi-million-dollar checks for companies that didn't really exist and have never been investigated for it and have never paid it back. And yet, like, nobody said boo about it. We have
This
the
is
money. We have
this
the
is one of
ability
the
to do all
things.
these things.
Yeah, this is one of the things that drives me crazy about Democrats is like every time we try to implement a program, it has to be this like maddening cacophony of rules and stage gating and everything where it's like COVID, for example, we had the the PPP loans. It's like they had to go through businesses and they had to be attached to full-time employees. And like, so like our business, for example, I feel like I kind of got screwed because everyone that works full time at my business is also an owner in the business. So we're not an employee on file. So we weren't able to get the full kind of PPP funding because we weren't considered employees. We were considered owners. And we were able to get a little bit of money, which helped us for sure. But it's just like, it turns out we have this system that is capable of giving people money instantly anytime we want, and it's called the IRS. Like, we could have just given everybody during COVID some monthly payment without having to worry about. Yeah, we still can.
Hell, we could give people a universal basic income.
Yeah. It just the point is like we didn't need to have this like crazy complicated system. We could just be like, hey, you're gonna get $250, $500 every month for this period of time or something. And who cares if rich people get it? Like, I understand we're just like, well, the rich people don't need more. Make it up on the back end on the taxes, right? Keep the system simple so that the people that need it can get in quickly and get what they need. And then on the back end, you tax the wealthy people so that you're, recouping what you need to so that you're balanced budget or whatever. So we're not just, throwing money. Well, I guess the national debt doesn't matter anymore, but back when we pretended like it did. So keep all of these things simple, like Medicaid, SNAP, food stamps, general child care assistance. Like, all of these things are just these convoluted messes that require poor people who are oftentimes at the breaking point of just trying to make it through the friggin' day, and they have to go in all these places and fill out all these forms, and then the forms never work right, and
it's totally intentional.
Yeah.
To make it more difficult, right? So that it makes it harder for them to go. Insurance companies do the same thing. Corporations do the same thing. It's it's formulaic.
Yeah, and a lot of it's, I think, because the Democrats feel like they have to keep like appealing to this sense of like, it's another handout or whatever. I was just like, they're gonna label you with that anyway.
Yeah, right? No, they took the label. It's almost like they got PTSD from being labeled by Newt Gingrich back in the 80s and 90s of being tax and spend, and it's like, okay, well, you know what? I'll stand up. I'll stand on top of a police car today with a megaphone and say, okay, I'm a tax and spend Democrat. What? If that's the worst thing you're going to say about me today, we're doing fine.
Totally.
Okay.
I think
now, where are the Epstein files?
I think we need a government that is big enough to provide the services and to defend us against our adversaries, and no more. But that means that we should be using the government because it's the only thing that we have as a bulwark against large corporations and super wealthy people. It's that third peg between the people, corporations, and the government that acts as that countervailing force, because otherwise we're all just cogs in the machine as normal people here. That's the reality.
We've been cogs in the machine for a very long time.
I mean, we've always been cogs in the machine, right? Like,
but we shouldn't be. We outnumber them, and we make the machine go. That's the thing, is that these people. I think I'm gonna scroll up in the chat because something that somebody said in the chat was really important, and I want to highlight it. Trump Whopper said in the chat, Leon's net worth was $20 billion in 2020. By 2024, he was worth $160 billion. 30 days after the election, he was worth $360 billion, and 9 months later, he's worth 492. I can't even say these numbers. 492 billion.
Yeah.
That is insanity. Okay, when you were talking about simple things that need to be done, one of them is a very simple thing, right? is the Democrats just need to keep repeating on ad nauseum, just over and over again. We're raising taxes above 5 million. So any dollar that you make after $5 million is going to get taxed at 70%. Before that, it gets taxed at like, whatever it is now.
Well,
Okay.
I'm
After that,
a
it's 70%.
I'm a
And
big fan of
who's going to defend that?
yeah, I'm a big fan of tax reform. I think that taxes under the poverty line or income under the poverty line shouldn't be taxed. And then I think you can do a progressive tax system because, again, remember in the 50s, you talked about like FDR and whatnot, but like the biggest boost that we had to sort of our growth before we separated our GDP and whatnot in the 70s, but was because of the investments that were made into the system, infrastructure and education and whatnot. And one of the things one of the things that I remind people is like, look, it's awesome that America is the land where we can have something like a Twitter or an Amazon or whatever. But don't forget that those companies exist because of the tens of trillions of dollars in investment that we have made over the past 60, 70 years.
Yes, that's
and
right.
without that investment, roads, bridges, seaports, airports, electricity, security, military and national defense, the internet, which was a DARPA initiative, like all of those things allowed Amazon to exist. And now that they've gotten those tools in the workshop, they should be paying an equitable tax percentage. And so, I'm a big fan. I don't know if fan's the right word, but a big believer that you should be paying an equitable amount with the resources that you are using and have used in order to get to where you're at. And to your point too, it's funny. I have this sometimes. People will be like, "Well, they're business or they're job creators, right?" I was like, "I own a business. Actually, I own two businesses. Every person I have ever hired, I hired because that person has skills that will allow me to make money, right? That's what jobs are. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, they don't hire people just to be good stewards of the country. They hire people when they can make money off of them, and then they fire them when they can't. So let's not pretend that these job creators are doing it out of some sense of altruism here. They're doing it because it is a necessary piece in generating profit for their company. And that's fine from like a capitalist sort of perspective. That's all fine. But we should be making sure that people... Was that?
I said, is it though?
Well, see, here's the thing is, as long as we're in a capitalist system, which we're probably going to be in some semblance for a while, then like, I think we can make things a lot simpler on ourselves. So corporations are going to do this. They're going to charge. They're going to make a profit motive. Okay. Again, tax them on the back end. If they're generating huge amounts of value off of folks like you and I, then we'll make sure that that money is being captured on the back end. And then now we've got healthcare for everybody. We've got education for everybody. You mentioned UBI. That's totally something that we could be talking about, right? Getting rid of this national debt nonsense. Like there's lots of things that we can do. So it's kind of like let corporations do what they do well. And then make sure
what they do well is they make line go up. Okay.
They make line go up. Well, corporations produce lots of value. I mean, there's tons of products. I mean, I'm on one right now, right?
But right now they seem to be really highly focused on line go up.
Sure.
But that's moving people around. Like right now, it's the reason that we have the economy between 2020 and right now, and in all its glory, is primarily because corporations are kind of out of control. And we're talking about the larger corporations, right? And we're seeing it everywhere. And you're seeing venture capitalists that are going in and swooping in, and they're buying up, say, Walgreens, right? Which was a fine corporation and employed lots of people. Well, what are they going to do with that? Well, I know in my neighborhood, and I bet everybody that's watching right now, you've got at least one of these chain stores where it used to employ a lot of people, and now it's like overgrown, and it's an empty parking lot, and it's the future site of Spirit Halloween. Mm-hmm. So and what's happening is that this is kind of just out of control capitalism. Absolutely.
I mean, if you want to call it end stage or whatever capitalism, like 100%, absolutely. But I think that the steps that we can take right now are to make sure that we are stabilizing the lives of normal people and making their lives better. And then, it sucks to say this, like AI, for example. We haven't talked about AI at all, but AI in
I
its
could
current,
I could listen to you and talk to you for hours about AI.
yeah, in its current state, like at best, if somebody quote unquote wins the AI war, it's going to result in lots of job losses,
Yes.
and at worst, it is going to result in a complete economic collapse because there are tons of hedge funds and investment firms shoveling money into this technology, which is a completely unproven technology. We don't even know if we can create generalized AI, and we have no idea what the repercussions are going to be from this. And half the people working on these projects don't even actually know how the AI function. There's all these black boxes within the system where information goes in, information comes out, and a lot of them aren't even sure what's happening in that black box. One of the things that's really scary, this is a really interesting article, but a lot of these hedge funds and these investment groups, these VC firms, have over the past 25 years have been investing in all sorts of these new and alternative techniques or technologies like, blockchain, crypto, augmented reality, stuff like that. None of them have really paid off. So for quite a few of these VC firms, like this is it. If AI does not pay off for them, they're going to collapse. And so their incentive is to find ways to shovel as much money into it as possible. And they do not care where that money is coming from. And they do not care who gets hurt
Well, they're round
in the
tripping
process.
right now.
Yeah.
They're round tripping. Like they should be investigated right now by the SEC for what they're doing, which is artificially inflating each other's stock prices or valuation by doing, basically Oracle handing money to Nvidia in a quote deal end quote. Then Nvidia hands that money off to another company, and then they hand it off to another company, and then they hand it back off to Oracle, and this goes around in a circle. Everybody's like, oh, we just did this 100 million, literally $100 billion deal or something with each other, but it's the same invented money, doesn't exist, and they just pass it around to each other as a deal that doesn't exist.
Sure.
Nvidia's,
And
I think, was like a $100 million deal or something for a bunch of chips that they literally can't produce. That is the valuation of OpenAI is like something like over 100 times more than they've been valued in the past year, and there's no way that they can make that because they're in the red. They haven't made a profit yet.
And it's even worse than that because we're starting to see that a lot of banks are beginning to fund some of these things, and they're funding based on fractional share of fractional funding, and so they're funding things. So I mean, I try to be an optimistic guy, but you also have to acknowledge reality, and the red flags we're seeing around how we are investing in AI is insanely dangerous. And so
that's max of 2007, 2006.
Yeah, it does.
Oh man, that's bad. Well, especially after didn't Trump did he do the executive order of there won't be any regulations or something, or didn't they put something out that there wouldn't be any regulations of AI for 10 years?
They tried to put it in the big beautiful bill, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember they were forced to take that out of the bill.
And I think there's a deregulation component. I'm not up on California law, but I think there is a deregulation component in something going on in California right now too. Yeah, it's wild. The weird thing is, and this is why I'll just be honest with you guys. I'm in a place of uncertainty on this because I do think that AI needs to be watched and regulated, but I have no faith in Congress to be able to do it because they don't understand the technologies at all. And there is a reality, this AI as well as quantum computing, that whoever wins that war owns the world. Like if somebody can figure out quantum computing, like pretty much all security protocols are useless. And so like that's a pretty scary thing to make sure you're on top of, right? But I don't have any faith that Congress can properly regulate it, and I don't have any faith in these corporations that are if one of them wins, like if Grok wins, like heaven help us.
Oh my God.
I
And well,
think
they're
at
not
that point
even
we
they're not
just
protecting any of us from right now. Just in the state levels, they're not protecting any of us. So but I won't go down that tangent, but maybe next time you and I could talk about what you would do for people in Ohio, who are going to be probably facing all of the I'm sure AI um, facilities that are going to be located in Ohio.
Yeah, we have a lot of data center conversations going on right
Mm.
now, and there's people are starting to see their energy
Bills
bills
go up.
increase, and it's starting to become really disgusting.
It's going to get so bad. It's going to get so bad.
Yeah, it really is. I think it's a crystallization of a lot of what's been going on in America for a long time, which is the more and more of the onus and the burden of society is falling onto individuals, but none of the upside is falling on us. So we're expected to do more and more and more, and yet the upside for us is not there. I think back 50 years ago, there were opportunities, particularly for trade schools, where like you could go
Yeah.
to school, you would be paid to learn, there would be no student cost to you, and there would be a job for you when you got out. Now we have to pay tens of thousands, if not over $100,000 for an education on the off chance there might be a job available for us. And a lot of those jobs are just falling, and AI is just going to make it worse. And also it's also funny too, like funny in a like gallows humor kind of way, that there's all this
not
push
funny
towards
as in
yeah, not funny as in like, oh, let's have a laugh about it, but funny in like, oh my God, what are we doing to ourselves? But just last month there was this analysis where it's like something like 95% of the current AI like prototype phases in the corporate world are just like totally not working at all. So it's just like everyone's doing this and spending all this money and none of it's working, right? Firing people. It's just gross. And it's really frustrating too, just from a consumer standpoint, because there's this really good book. It's called The Paradox of Choice. Highly recommend
I've read
reading
that.
it. And one of the lines in there that I always liked is, I say it all the time, but everything was better back when everything was worse. And I just think it's true. Like you look at particularly customer service, like try calling up your cell provider these days, and it's just going to be this maddening AI phone loop where you can't get
Menu
anywhere.
upon menu, and yeah.
And they do that because they know, if you look at like cell providers, I don't know about you, like anyone in the chat, like when's the last time you've changed your cell provider? It just doesn't happen that often. So they all know, AT&T knows that like maybe they might lose 1 or 2%, but they'll probably pick up 1 or 2% from Sprint or whatever. So they don't even have to provide really, really good customer service, because it's like, where else are you going to go? They're all going to be bad.
We have one more question from Jamie, who I believe has been waiting for an opportunity to...
Oh, just a little bit. All right.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. So we're talking about regulation. All right, we're talking about making the government a bulwark against unregulated capitalism. What from a policy perspective do you see as the government's role there? What kind of policies are you thinking about pushing to make the government do that thing? Is it just going to be tax reform, or you're looking at specific other directives as well?
I mean, so I'm one of those people that, and again, Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations, backs me up on this. But the government's job is to provide guardrails for the free market. Like that is one of its core functions. And so I do think that we need to be knowledgeable and careful about how we regulate. We shouldn't just do it for the sake of doing it, but we do need to focus on these things. Like we have environmental protections. I mean, I live in Ohio, like our lake caught on fire twice, like I don't know about you guys, but generally your water should not be catching on fire.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. And a lot of us are just like, are we going to be back there again? Like, is the Ohio River just going to catch on fire again because we're just dumping crap into it? So environmental regulations are important. I don't have a specific policy plan for this, but I really am thinking, and I'm trying to talk to some more experts that are a little more knowledgeable than me about regulating social media algorithms. I think that has been a just instrumentally detrimental part of our society thus far. And so if you think about news, for example, news used to be an active effort. Like you would go and purchase a newspaper and read it. You would choose to watch a channel or listen to a radio channel. And there was some editorial control that would happen there about the news that you would get. Now, social media, its only purpose, or I guess its only desire, is to keep you engaged, to keep your eyeballs on that platform. It does not care about the validity of the information. It does not care about any of that. And so I think having a real talk about the use of algorithms and how those algorithms are providing information, and that's not even talking about what's going on with our young people, the depression that's going on with our young people.
Oh yeah.
I understand very well. I'm 27.
Okay, so
I'm a young people. Like I 100%.
You're young peoples. I like to
And I
pretend
have
I'm a
a
young peoples.
17-year-old. I know exactly what you're talking about too.
You
Yeah.
mean I was legally able to drink beer before you were even conceived?
Nice.
You already knew this.
I
But it's
didn't.
again,
but
we
I
have to ask
seen
ourselves.
somewhere.
We just have to ask ourselves, like, what the goal is, right? Like, if our goal is to just let a bunch of tech mega corporations make billions of dollars while hurting our children and driving us crazy, then I think we're doing an exceptional job. That is not my goal.
Right.
You know, that is not the world I want to live in. And I do not think that there is a corporation in existence or who has ever existed in which society owes its harm so that you can continue to exist. Now, there are corporations where we obviously, like oil and gas, right? Like we need oil and gas right now to survive. That doesn't mean that we should just let them do whatever they want. Like we should be very knowledgeable and careful about what we allow them to do. Plus, the oil and gas industry has shown over the past 150 years that they are not the most honest brokers with us, right? So, you know,
Yeah, the Gulf of Mexico would like a word.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, again, my goal is to create a America that is an economic and cultural powerhouse for the next 100 years, in which that we have safety and we have security and we have a healthy population that is capable of living the life in freedom that they want. Like that's kind of my goal. And I think that if we create a system that has aligned incentives where when corporations benefit, we benefit, when we benefit, the government benefits, that is the goal. Now that's of course easier said than done. And we have a lot of challenges that we're going to have to do it. But my general argument, I think this wraps back to, you know, what we talked about an hour and a half ago, about, you know, what are you going to do when you get into Congress, is like my primary statement is that you have to have people in our leadership that are even willing to do these things and have these conversations. Otherwise, you never get started. And right now, we just have leaders that aren't even willing to have these conversations. They're not willing to push anything.
Yeah,
100%. And even like, just even right here, like one of the things that you have done that is actually so fucking rare is even saying like, hey, I don't have a specific policy goal for this right now. Which, cool. If you don't have one, I fucking love the honesty, right? I love the genuineness.
Yes,
I love
thank
the
God.
fact that like
I'm glad.
you're telling me straight up, like, yeah, I don't have a policy goal for this, but these are the goal. This is the overall goal that I want to meet, right? That's still something that's communicable. That's still something that's not. I don't feel like you're blowing smoke up my ass, because that's not where smoke goes.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things that I tell people,
I really want a cigarette. Sorry, I'm thinking about smoking now.
One of the things I tell people, and just again, as a politician, I don't consider myself one, but as one, maybe this is a weird thing to say, but like, I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. Like, I'm not even trying to convince you to vote for me. What I am asking you to do is to see if you can trust me. And if trust that I'm going to have your back and that I'm going to be there fighting for you. We're not going to agree on everything, but that I'm going to be there trying to help make your life better. And if you can trust me, I think we can do some awesome things together. And if for whatever reason you can't, like, that's on you, right? That's a prerogative that you have. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm not going to pretend to know something that I don't know. Like, I think we should cure cancer. I am not a doctor. I do not know how to cure cancer. So I will talk to people that are smarter than me.
Billy, you don't even have a brain worm. How could you make that statement?
I know. I need more. Oh, as somebody, though, that does have a public health background and a health administration background, what I'm seeing out of RFK is just like, I feel like my brain is leaking out of my head many times a week.
It reminds me of the RoboCop where the guy was driving the van and it crashed into the acid tank and he gets out. He's like,
oh yeah.
Stop
The
it.
guy who
Oh
ended
my
up being
Listen,
in ER.
I've just been crushing as much Tylenol as I possibly can to get even better at Warhammer, and it hasn't been working. So clearly he's lying. Right?
Totally. I mean, whatever gets you there, right?
Right.
I think ultimately, at the end of the day, if we, and by we I mean people who do care about this country, care about each other, and want to see America thrive, we're just gonna have to get together and just be like, enough is enough. We are trying something new, and we're gonna start kicking some ass, and that means we'll have to figure some things out as we go. But I will remind you that the current administration does not have a plan for anything that is going to help us out. Right?
Oh, no.
So I think being held to the standard, and we saw this with Kamala Harris a lot, where it's like she had to have an answer for everything under the sun, and that answer had to appease everybody. And Donald Trump's over there eating cats and dogs, right? Like,
Yeah.
We need to stop holding ourselves to the same standard, but we need to have accountability, and we need to be solutions based on where we're going. But I've never had a problem with being like, hey man, I don't know, but I'll figure it out for you.
And
That was something I learned in the military is when a superior asks you a question that they probably already know the answer to and you don't know the answer, especially during an inspection, you just say, I don't know, but I'll get you an answer ASAP.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a perfectly reasonable answer. And also, I think we need to start confusing kindness for weakness. I think you can be kind and you can be strong. And again, a bunch of these people, like the people in leadership right now, like particularly on the administration side, like these are all baby people. These are not the best and brightest of us.
I said it last night. Is we're just dealing with a bunch of people's daddy issues who could definitely pay for therapy, and they just chose not to.
Okay, so can we? I still want to get bitch fascists to trend, please. Can we?
Bitch fascist.
Bitch fascists. This is bitch fascism. Okay, they're all bitches. Okay.
Yeah, they are a little bitches.
I do think that speaks to something that we're missing in society, especially that the right wing is missing, is that the acknowledgement that it's okay to not know something on the spot. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to learn and change and grow and develop over time. And that's something I think is missing in politics, but especially missing on the right wing, and something that's not taught in our culture anywhere near as much as it should be.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of what led us right here, right now. So it's.
Yeah, I think there's a humility in just knowing you don't know everything, and part of, this is like an old philosopher's thing, but like part of wisdom is understanding that you don't know everything, and then that creates a drive in you to create a process to learn things, to understand the world around you. But nobody knows everything. I have this kind of like, if I could take a minute, I just want to run it by you. I have this thing I've been kind of like noodling in my head, if that's okay.
Sure.
It kind of connects to the bitch fascism thing a little bit, but
I win.
So one of the things, because I talk to a lot of people who are really nervous, a lot of scared about what's going on in the world. And one of the things I've been thinking about is like, I think we're in this moment in which there's a lot of people that have had the world kind of cater to them, have twisted and bent itself around them. So Americans in general, when we think about things where it's like we've been the cultural and economic powerhouse for the past 70 years, we are the reserve currency. English is the native language of business. Hollywood has promoted our culture all over the world. So the rest of the world has kind of been bending to appease us, to please us for a long, long time. And now there's a group of people that are being asked to make a little bit of space for other folks. And they're viewing this as like this oppressive act. They're being trodden on. I'm kind of curious your sort of thoughts on this. Am I off base on this, or is this
No, I mean,
something I've got a little...
there's an adage. Oh my goodness, I cannot remember where it's from. It's from like a very famous author that I should remember the name of, but I can't.
It's all right. There's too much to know these days.
Too much to know these days. I've had a few triple sex and Snapples,
Nice.
so you know.
What are you drinking? Oh my god!
Triple
Orange
sex and
Snapple
Snapples.
with
Sweet
triple
What is
tea,
wrong with
apparently
you?
not.
There's a lot wrong with me. We don't have time to go down that road.
It's all right. When you're 27, you're allowed to have a lot wrong with you.
That's true.
Ugh.
But there was a statement of to an oppressive class, equality feels like oppression.
Yeah, I think
And
that's,
it's
within the same
and
vein. Yeah.
it's very similar to what you're saying and I don't think that's off base at all, not at all.
Yeah. It's also something too. I kind of remind folks that, these people are kind of wusses, right?
They're
And,
bitch made.
Wusses.
and I think about this kind of all the time. I was having a conversation with this,
They are bitches.
yeah, I was talking to this, he's a like sort of establishment Democrat here in Ohio, this older black gentleman. We were kind of chatting. We started talking about the things he was wanting to change and he wished he could change, and the things he's seen. I think he was like in his late 60s, and how some of this stuff is coming back or whatever. And I just think it's funny, again, not funny haha, but well, maybe funny haha. There's always conversation about immigrants, trans people, black people, Latinos, or whatever. And it's just like, dude, if you could pick a group, particularly like, I know, trans, for example, that was a really big thing in Ohio. There was like $50 million spent on anti-trans advertising in last election.
Of all the things to spend $50 million,
I know.
Jesus.
And it's just like, if you could think of any people that have been like taking it in the fucking groin for decades upon decades, like trans people know how to deal with these idiots, right? They shouldn't have to. And it's gross that they have to. But like a lot of this nonsense coming from the right, they're just like, it's just another fucking day. It shouldn't have to be. But all of the folks that are doing this, that are leading these charges, that are keyboard warring up on Twitter or whatever, like put them in a room with anybody who's just like a normal person who's been dealing with this crap for decades, if not their entire life. And it's just like, all right, hush now, baby. Let
Right.
the adults take care of the big problems.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I actually am. I only came out a short while ago, but I'm trans myself, right? And it's
Welcome
there's
to the club.
right. I mean, there's definitely a amongst all the other trans folk I know, and a lot of my friends who are also trans, right? There's definitely a very big contingent of people who are already inured to this kind of thing. There's also,
Yeah.
of course, a shit ton of people who are scared because it is scary, right?
Yeah,
But-
I mean, at the end of the day, like, you shouldn't have to deal with this bullshit.
No.
Right?
And at the end of the day, what trans people need is, circling back to one of the points we've been talking about, is somebody who has a spine to stand up for them. That's it.
I just find it's so silly, and ultimately it's self-defeating too, because I think if I look back at my life, again, I'm only 44. I'm not like heading off to the grave here, but
Right.
I just like I feel blessed with the people that I've been around. Like I have said, I've been in, a part, and around of the LGBT community for 30 years. Like I've been around everyone under the sun, just by the nature of being in Columbus and going to OSU. Columbus is a very diverse city. And I was just like, I cannot think of a better life experience I've had, just being able to connect with all sorts of different people and be able to experience where they're coming from and have conversations about whatever. And so at the end of the day, these folks that are kind of sitting in this space of hate, like they're ultimately doing themselves a disservice.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
Oh,
Now
yeah.
that doesn't mean it's not dangerous and that it's not harmful, and we have to kind of keep that shit in check. But like they're the ones that are losing out.
Oh
Not
yeah, they're
you.
totally missing out.
Yeah, they're missing out on one. I mean, they're missing out on so many things, right? Like they're missing out on getting to know so many ridiculously awesome people, being able
Mhm.
to forge communities with people who are just like them. Like again, like I might be a trans person, but I'm also just I'm a Marine Corps vet who plays tabletop war games. Like it's
Mhm.
pretty normal person, right? But they're
Working your
also
way towards
And do
autism.
not cross him.
Yeah, working my way-
A
Be
few more
be badass.
Tylenols and you'll be there.
working my way towards autism. But also like one of the big things is they're cheating themselves out of developing a better relationship with themselves by not being able to engage
Absolutely.
with queer folks or queer people.
Oh, absolutely.
And interrogating their sexuality, interrogating their gender. And if you interrogate your gender and you find out you are comfortable being cis, awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, there's an indirect.
But you're a stronger person for it.
Totally. Yeah, there's an indirect element where they're not connecting with other folks that could add value to their life, or you could build meaningful relationships. But there's also a direct where they're not, yeah, like you said, they're not exploring themselves. They're not exploring this life, which is really sad. I mean, there's a reason why we see so many of these sort of like anti-gay, anti-trans folks happen to get caught with men, or their Grinder accounts blow up or whatever. Like, maybe if you'd spend a little bit more time internalizing who you are as a person, you might find that there's some more depth there that you could explore, right?
It's wild.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of that repressed. What is it? There's a lot of closeted.
Yeah. You sort of hate what you are, kind of thing.
Yeah, in the right wing, I think.
Yeah.
The ones that cry the most. What is it they say down here in the South is hit dog hollers.
Yeah.
Every accusation is an indictment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Or a
confession.
confession.
So I think that's a really important. I know a lot of people keep saying
hello,
that.
puppy.
And they think about. I think people think about like every accusation's a confession. It's like, oh, they're kind of doing it, right? But I think the more important part of that statement.
Oh, that's a cat.
That's a cat. This is Pumpkin. Yeah. Oh, didn't know that. But the more important part of that statement is that you can use that statement to change your perception into theirs, and you can be like, oh, this is how they see the world. It's not like they're not making a statement to make a statement. Like, this is legitimately how they see the world. So, for example, Donald Trump, he views everything transactionally. He does not build meaningful relationships, like friend relationships. Everything is, what can he get out of it? What can you give to him?
Yeah.
And if you view him through that lens, then what he does starts to make a lot more sense. And so there's a lot of folks right now that if you sort of alter your view a little bit, you can understand them better. One, that might allow you to connect with them if it's like maybe somebody in your family. But two, it also allows you to find a way potentially to fight against this nonsense.
Chris, it looks like you got some fans in the channel. A lot of people are saying that they're going to share this video with their neighbors and stuff in Ohio. But I do hope that you're going to. I personally, just me, Asia, I would love for you to come back and talk to us again, because I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation.
Me too.
It's not often that we get somebody that has a lot of knowledge of tech for me to talk to. So we lost him.
I'm here.
Lost him to the cat.
I'm just swapping pets. This is David.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Look at the face.
I know. She's gonna get her hair cut on Thursday. I'm sorry.
See, Max, you brought out the other dog. Oh, Max walked away.
Yeah, I really appreciate being on the channel. I've enjoyed the conversation, and I'll remind people I'm running in Ohio, but it's a federal position, so people can support by sharing the word or donating, or if you live in Ohio, obviously vote. But there's, I think, just ultimately an opportunity to hopefully share a message that we can do better than this, and we can build a world that we can be proud of, and we can have a live stream 10 years from now and look back and be like, man, look at what we did. Like we can do these things.
Yeah.
I think, Asia, you said a little bit ago, like, it's not about the money, it's about the policies. We have the money.
And we have had it for a long time. We've had the ability to do this for a long time. I want everybody to get that in your head and lock it in. We've had the ability to do this for a long, long time. They just don't have the will or the want.
Yeah. And I'm going to be a pain in the ass to them, because
Good.
I'm going there to work. There's very few people who can outwork me. I'm a pretty quick study, and I'm going there to do work and to get things done. And if other folks, if my colleagues are just there to kind of putz around, then we're gonna have a conversation to have, I guess.
Well, you're taking small dollar donations, no big donors. So we're going to make sure that we share that link. Everybody should send him some money.
Appreciate it.
Could
Definitely use it.
And volunteers, if there's anybody in Ohio wants to help him out, please do so. I'm going to hand this over to Tim.
That is going to be our show. I really have to pee, and I also have a Zoom teleconference with the coalition.
You didn't need to share that.
3 minutes. I did have to share it because, this was the signal like 20 minutes ago. So
I was trying.
Our guest, we have a special live stream tomorrow. The special live stream is going to be with Randall from Flare. Flare is one of our partners in the Removal Coalition. And that is also going to be at 7. Tuesday, October 28th at 7, we have Monty Mater, who had to reschedule. We've got Monty back on the schedule. If you don't know who Monty Mater is, Google is free. Go fucking use it. And then the day after that, special live stream, 2:30 p.m., we have the Knitting Cult Lady. Ooh. If you don't know who that is, guess what? Google is free, bitch.
She's also pretty awesome.
Yes, she is. And we share something in common. Army military intelligence. Tuesday, regular live stream, we've got Squid Tips. Tuesday, November 11th is actually Veterans Day, so we're going to have a special Veterans Day stream. Woo. Tuesday, the 18th, we've got Victor Velstra from Transdo Task Force. I think I got that correct. Eldor's going to yell at me in the comments if I did not. That is a... You know what? Just go Google it. Victor Velstra. Starts with a V and a K.
That's the motto
Google,
for the evening.
Google is your friend. And then Tuesday, November 25th, we have Rachel Burns, who's running for House of Representatives in Iowa's 7th District. That is our current live stream schedule. As always, Tuesday live streams pretty much without fail, because that's my life now. That's going to be our show. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chris, for coming. Thank you, Admin Asia, Admin Doug, Admin Jamie, for sitting on the panel. 2 claps and a Rick.
This is how we do.
Woo! That is our stream, and peace out.
Thank you, everybody.